Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we've just been talking to callers. In the last segment, we had Paul from Canada. He's offering some solutions. Paul, I want to get back to you. One of the things that you were saying was you thought that it turned people off a lot when Alex talks about babies being fed through a meat grinder. And yet, you know, so many times we see, for instance, Obama's drone strikes. We're told how the military goes in and surgically strikes into these areas, and it makes it sound like it's such a clean thing. And yet, as we're seeing in Gaza, there are real human consequences. People are blown to pieces. Children are blown to pieces. And there are real consequences for abortion. We have children who are ripped to pieces. And those pictures are so graphic that they are censored for the most part. They're censored in any media. They're censored even in most demonstrations. They won't allow you to show that because it is offensive. We should be offended by that, and we should try to wake people up with that. And that's what Alex is trying to do. He's trying to appeal to people's emotional compass to try to get them to understand what's really going on here. It is not some antiseptic little surgical thing that's going on here any more than these drone strikes are. But I said I'd give you a chance to give us your other solutions. Go ahead.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it. And I have to say, I do agree with you guys, and I don't want to take up too much time on the subject, but I do agree with you guys. I think he sometimes goes over a little bit too much, and I agree to disagree. I'm still 100% in support with you guys. Number two, one of the big things that woke me up when listening to you guys is every time he used to say, Beta Pharmaceutical willingly put the SV40 virus into the vaccines back in 19 whatever it was. If I was wrong about that, they'd sue me. That was a huge, huge thing. When he said, if I'm wrong about that, I would get sued. But if you guys just mention that line anytime it pops in your head, you'll have new listeners. Because I was arguing with my brother yesterday at work about that same exact thing, and I said, if he was wrong about this, he'd be sued for defamation automatically.
Let me interject something there, too, and that is, it's a known fact, especially with cats, that it's a very frequent phenomenon that they will develop a tumor and cancer at the site of their vaccines. Now, that should tell us something, because our animals have a much faster metabolism. They have a shorter lifespan than we do. They are essentially the canaries in the coal mine. When we see our pets developing cancer from vaccines, that ought to tell us something. But go ahead. I'll let you finish your other points. I just had to interject that. Go ahead.
No, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I really agree. Just mention we'd be sued more if I was wrong about this fact. That I'd get sued. Just boom, right there. It's automatic default. They have to. They don't have to believe it. They're going to know it can't be. It can't be a lie. You can't just come up in the air and make up absolute false lies. You'd be sued all day. Anyways,
that's correct.
Point number 3. There's a new Weird Al Yankovic video out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's the most blatant Illuminati New World Order stuff there is. It's phenomenal. It's called Foil. Okay. Yeah. There's 2 takes on it. I don't know. There's 2 takes. He lumps in together a bunch of real stuff like the border crisis, and he lumps in together other stuff that's real, like the NSA spying, with absolutely ridiculous stuff, aliens cutting your head off and getting shot. He lumps it in with some crazy stuff, like far past David Icke, with some real stuff, and then he says, there's a big conspiracy, and gets dragged off. Now, there's 2 takes on it. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. You can talk about it after, though. Sorry,
well, it's kind of you could kind of take it one of 2 ways. You know, I mean, at first he's doing something, looks like he's making fun of Alex or, you know, the Truther movement or whatever. But then at the very end, they do actually haul him off. So, you know, it's like, are you paranoid if they really are watching you? Are you paranoid if they really are pulling you away? So, yeah, you could take that one of 2 ways. And I think he intentionally left it ambiguous because I don't think he wants to go down on one side or the other. He's just an entertainer. But go ahead. Did you have any other point you wanted to make?
Yeah, number 4, MP3 sometimes on your site. it drives me nuts because I'm a Prison Planet member, and sometimes I download daily, and I need to listen. I don't need to listen, but I listen to it at work while I'm working. So I need the MP3, and sometimes it's not there. So if you guys, whoever's doing that, like if you're going to leave one,
we'll pass that along. Thank you for being a subscriber. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for your call. We're going to be right back with some more of your calls as well as some more news. Stay with us.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered with the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Or call 1-888-253-3139.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the Survival Silver Solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage or your home kitchen. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. Most people know that iodine deficiency has been a crisis around the world. Iodine is key to so many of the body's functions, especially the thyroid. I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating, and the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host in the studio today. Now, we've been taking some callers. I want to go over a little bit of news. Now, it came out yesterday on Infowars.com that Joe Biden went to the NAACP earlier this week, as well as to other places. And, of course, Joe Biden and Eric Holder's Justice Department, this administration says that it is racist if you want to fill in the blank. No, in this case, it's ask for voter ID. Now, of course, the government is all about checking our ID everywhere. They're coming up to people and asking them for ID on the street. They stop people 100 miles inside from the border and want to know if you're an American citizen. Show me your ID. Show me your identity papers, please. Just like in Nazi Germany, everything. They want voter ID. They're looking at us all the time, trying to get biometric identification. They're always looking at our faces, scanning for faces, doing everything. If you want to walk into a bar and buy a drink, unless you're as old as me or John McCain, they're going to ask you for identification. You have to have identification to drive a car everywhere, but not for voter ID, according to Joe Biden and other people. He says that any attempt to do this is an attempt to restrict voting rights. He says we're trying to repress minority voting, and they're masquerading it as an attempt to end corruption. He goes on to say that when he made this speech at the NAACP, he said, well, there's been no cases of this reported. Let me tell you something. Not everybody reports this when it happens. I have secondhand knowledge of this happening back in North Carolina. A friend of my brother-in-law's told him in this last election, when he went into, it was in 2012, when he went in to vote, he was told that he had already voted, and so had his deceased mother. Because you see, in North Carolina, you only need to give them a name and address. You could go into the phone book and pick that up. And you could vote the phone book because you've got a lot of time to do it. So let me tell you something. Anybody that's using this as a beard, they've got a different agenda. They're bringing in a lot of illegal aliens. They're even going to go into the countries now. We see that Obama is going to start flying children in from Honduras, so they don't have to make the journey themselves. We don't want them, these young children, we're told that elementary school children now are making this 1,500-mile journey that takes about 35 hours if you do it by car. But, of course, they're too young to drive a car, so I'm sure they can just walk it themselves, right? No, I don't think that's happening. I think they are being accompanied by someone. I think they're using these children as anchors to bring the rest of the family in. But he wants those people to be brought in. He wants them to be able to use voter ID so they have non-citizens voting in the elections because he knows that they're going to support him. Of course, they can always give them citizenship as well, and that's the next thing down the pike. But even if nobody had done this, why would we allow the potential for fraud to exist? Now, of course, you even have to have voter ID if you're going to get Obamacare. That's right, but the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, which is a nonpartisan organization, they went out and did a sting operation on people who were getting their Obamacare subsidies. They did 18 attempts, and in 11 of those 18 attempts, they found that they were able to get through. So I guess Obamacare, even though it asks for your ID, it's not really racist because they're not really checking your ID, right? But it is racist, they tell us, if it's being done in these other states. And there's a lot of states who are now putting in regulations to require voter ID. Washington Post poll last year showed, and this is according to the National Review, that 65% of blacks and 64% of Latinos supported voter ID. And also the constitutionality of it is not in question either. The Supreme Court upheld the fact that Indiana had a voter ID law. It's really just going into states like North Carolina or Texas because those are former states that were part of the Confederacy. They want to try to push this racist agenda. They don't want people having voter IDs or photo IDs to vote. They don't want to establish the legitimacy of the voters anywhere, but of course they can do it there by raising the racist card. So we see this happening over and over again. Of course, the Eric Holder Justice Department doesn't really care about what the Constitution says. It doesn't care about the Supreme Court's decisions. Immediately, and neither do the Democrats, immediately after this decision with Hobby Lobby, where they got the religious exemption recognized by the Supreme Court, immediately after that, Democrats in the Senate as well as in Congress put together a bill in the House of Representatives and in the Senate to essentially write another law that would take away that exemption for close, privately held businesses, even if they are incorporated. But, of course, they don't get it that the Supreme Court said the Constitution says that you can't do that. So the Constitution trumps their legislation. So even if they were to go back and do another one, of course, that is just grandstanding to their base. But even if they were to go back and pass yet another law saying that you had to buy or provide certain types of insurance if that conflicted with somebody's religious freedoms, then it rightfully should be struck down yet again by the Supreme Court. Let's go back to your calls. Let's go to Mark in California. Mark, what's on your mind?
Hi, thanks for taking my call, and thanks for your hard work as well.
Thank you.
I just was really wondering why no one's ever mentioned regarding the lost drives for the IRS that we can just go to the NSA for all that information.
Oh yeah, I've heard some people mention that. Actually, there was a story in the news today. I was just going through it as you're talking. Tale of the tapes. This is from Fox News. They say that the IRS head is now confirmed